At this time, I'd like to welcome Marilyn Jackson, CEO of the Ali Center, to welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Muhammad Ali Center. I'm Marilyn Jackson. I'm the president and CEO here. And I don't know if you know this, but one of our taglines that we like to say at the center is that we're more than a museum. We are a community gathering space where we can bring forward critical conversations about how to make Louisville a stronger, more equitable city and to foster a Louisville where all of people, especially our young people, can achieve their personal greatness in a safe and healthy neighborhoods. I don't know if you know this, but when Muhammad was approached about 20 years ago about creating a center or a museum in his name, there were lots of cities that wanted to host that type of facility, and he wanted it here in Louisville. This is where he considered home, and I know that he is delighted that we are having these conversations. This is like the fourth one we've had this year so far. I think it's important to making Louisville a better city, a stronger city, and a place where we can all grow. We're thankful for the community coming out tonight, and I'm thankful for the mayor's leadership and the Office of Safety and Healthy Neighborhoods and the community at large. So I'm not sure who I'm supposed to bring up next. Nobody told me that, but thank you for coming out tonight and look forward to this great conversation.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Paul Callanan. I'm the director for the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. So thank you for coming out tonight for this very important meeting. The topic of our discussion tonight will be violence reduction in the city, right? And we all heard there was some good news at the beginning of the year. The good news is that violence went down in our city, last year. Actually, we saw some reductions in homicides, we saw some reductions in shootings, but that's not really comforting, right, to all of us or many of us that still live in communities where we're seeing a fair amount of shootings, and we need to do better, right? We need to stay vigilant on what we're doing. That means that we need to look at our programs that are working. We need to strengthen those programs that are working, but we also need to be open to new ideas on how do we get better, right? This is a topic that we learn every day across the country from different cities as well, too, is what works, what doesn't, and we always have to strive to do better a job of protecting our families, our youth, and our citizens in our community. So tonight is one of many events that the mayor has made this his priority. He's been speaking to groups across the city. This is one of those evenings that we're going to have some good discussion tonight, right? And the way we kind of broke this up, and Amber will go through this with you in a few minutes, is that we want to make sure that everybody's voice, and voice is important, that whatever plan we put forward, right, is comprehensive but inclusive of the opinions and voices of all of us together, right? If we're going to own this plan, we're going to own this mission of reducing violence, then we need to come together in a collaborative effort, which means we need to listen and talk to each other about how to successfully do that, and that's what we're going to start off doing tonight. There are a couple of folks that I did want to point out that are here tonight. We do have two council persons with us tonight. Council President Marcus Winkler, District 17. And Councilwoman Betsy Rue, District 21. All right. I do want to point out our new deputy mayors, Deputy Mayor David James, Deputy Mayor Nicole George, and Deputy Mayor Barbara Sexton Smith. And without much ado, it's my privilege and my honor to introduce to you our newest mayor, and I know champion for all of us, Mayor Craig Greenberg.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to what I believe is one of the most important types of events we can do as a community. To organize together to focus on preventing violent crime in our community. This idea started as a result of several conversations that I had with our chief of police, with Councilman Ja'Cory Arthur, about the need to bring our community together after we were faced with 10 homicides in just the first few weeks of the year. So thank you for all coming tonight and for the work that so many of you do every day to save lives and help people, especially our young people, get off of the path to tragedy and find a better way. We're so grateful for your partnership and participation and the perspectives that you have on how we as a community can prevent more tragedies from happening. Tonight, we all have different experiences, different perspectives with guns and violence and the tolls that it takes. What we all have in common, though, is we're tired. We're tired of the death and the wounds and the losses and the wastes of good people and precious lives. Every group I meet with is tired of the gun violence. We all know that we have more that we can, should, and must do. And so thank you to those of you here tonight for stepping up and taking a part in the solution. Because this challenge is too big for any one of us to take on by ourselves. We can only do it together. And our administration is focused by working in partnership with you and others on community action and outreach, on taking guns off our streets, on improving LMPD, and investing more in our youth. And this conversation, this action plan here tonight, is one of those examples of community action and outreach. I apologize for being a few minutes late. I came from another initiative that we're working on as a community. Just came from a group violence intervention call-in, where we're meeting with some juveniles in our city to hopefully encourage them to choose a new path in life, and also to understand, if they don't choose that path, the consequences that might be, which we don't want to happen. Tonight is about solutions. Tonight is about action. And we're going to ensure that the folks who are living with the threats of violence in our city know that we are listening and responding. So this is just the first of many events. We're also going to focus on taking guns off of our streets. Earlier this month, I directed Louisville Metro Police Department to remove the firing pin from thousands of guns that have been used already to commit crimes in our city, to make it harder to find their way back onto their streets, so that once a gun is used to commit a crime, we hope that gun is never again used to commit another crime. And we have more plans in the works that we're going to continue to implement. Third, we're focused on improving LMPD. To make our city safer, we have to continue to implement reforms and make LMPD the best police department in America. That means we're going to support our officers with the best training to be the most trusted and transparent police department that we can possibly have, that is focused on preventing crimes from happening in the first place. We're also going to invest in our youth. We know that's essential. As Marilyn was just talking about Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, when he was 12 years old, he found people in his life like Joe Martin and Fred Stoner and others who helped him learn to box and become the greatest. So many of our kids in Louisville have that same potential that young Cassius Clay had, yet they never find the right mentors, the right outlets in life to pursue their hope, their opportunities, and their dreams. As your mayor, working with you all, I want to do everything possible to help our young people in our community have the right influences in the right environments so they can find the greatness within themselves to pursue their dreams and succeed. We need to open up more spaces where kids can feel safe and be active in sports and arts and other positive environments where they can work on building a brighter future for themselves. We need more programming across our city to keep our youth engaged. I was thrilled yesterday to help cut the ribbon at a new Boys and Girls Club in the California neighborhood. We need more and more programs, organizations, and places like that because we cannot lose our youth to crime. We also need to help keep them connected to their community while at the same time a belief in their own future. And we know the work of serious youth violence prevention requires resources. So that will not change from us. Our city government, our administration will continue to provide those resources, especially for young people. These are our priorities, and we are committed to making them happen. That's one of the reasons why I recently created the first Office for Philanthropy. We're joined here tonight by Mariana Barzin, who is leading that office, to bring in dollars from around the country to leverage our local resources to invest in important initiatives like violence prevention, short and long-term solutions. And there's no bigger challenge than reducing violence and getting guns off our street. So we need to provide our young people with a sense of hope and possibility. so fewer of them pick up a gun in the first place. So we asked you all to come tonight because we want and need your honest input, your straightforward take on where we are as a city and what we need to do to help more of our kids grow up in safe neighborhoods, to have hope, and to be able to pursue their opportunity. That's what every kid deserves. That's what everyone in Louisville deserves. And that's our job to help provide it. Tonight is called the Violence Prevention Action Summit. And we do really want to focus on solutions to prevent violent crime and what actions we need to take. We know there are a lot of reasons for why we are here. And so I hope everyone here tonight will share your ideas honestly and forthright, and that we respect everyone's opinions. There is no bad idea. And so thank you all for coming. Thank you to the moderators who are going to help facilitate those discussions. And I'm really excited to hear your ideas, your plans for action, that I as your mayor, that we as the administration and city government, our partners in Metro Council, can help implement. The timing is perfect. We've just started working right now on next year's budget. That will happen later this spring. That we'll be talking about that, and the Metro Council will be approving that. So your ideas tonight can become action very quickly. Thank you all so much for joining us in this cause.
Thank you, Mayor. There is somebody that I did miss, and I do apologize. I did want to introduce Deputy Mayor Dana Mayton. I do apologize for that. As I said earlier, we wanted to create a forum tonight where we could have an open dialogue, and it's kind of tough when you do that in a general room like this. So we did create a venue tonight that we felt is most suitable to have that exchange of ideas, to have that ongoing, honest dialogue. And I'm going to introduce you to Amber Burns-Jones, our Assistant Director for the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. She's going to walk you through that agenda tonight and what those forums look like, and then we'll send you on your way to your rooms. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. As Paul said, my name is Amber Burns-Jones, and I'm one of the assistant directors for the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. So as he said, very soon, we're going to break up into 4 breakout groups. When you arrived, each of you should have received a packet, and on that packet, there's a colored sticker. That's your group assignment, okay? In just a moment, I'm going to begin to name OSHN staff members who will then lead you to your designated group. We'll engage in a small group discussion, and then we'll come back together to report out on the output of those discussions, okay? All right, and in each room, there's also, there's food and drinks. So this will be a working dinner, if you will. You'll be eating and having discussion with your fellow citizens. So has everyone located their packet? They seen the color? Make eye contact so I know you got it. Okay, wonderful. Let's see, Nanette, will you stand, please? This is Nanette. If you have the sticker color green, please follow Nanette to the elevators, and she'll take you to your breakout room.
So deep in their cycle, there's no way they can get out of it on their own.
So we're trying to identify what the challenges are for you to come up with your idea and help local government solve the problems.
Problems that we tend to be continuously having to deal with is understanding the layers of government.
When it's important, then it makes its way to every available platform.
First thing that I noticed in my community was there was some severe distrust between the police and the community. First thing I did was I got a hold of LMPD and said, let's make friends.
The adult stepping up to a standard of engagement to where there is a community feel. Thank you very much. I want to bring you back in.
Welcome back. In the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to ask for everyone to settle in. We're going to practice one mic, one voice, okay? If you've forgotten or if you weren't here when we first got started, hi, my name is Amber Burns-Jones, and I'm one of the assistant directors for the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. We just engaged in what I hope was a powerful conversation 45 to 50 minutes is not nearly long enough to address the issues and the challenges that we were discussing, but hopefully it'll be a jumping off point to a much longer conversation. So at this time, I'm gonna open it up for our lovely speakers to report out on the discussions and the responses of each of their groups. Will you please introduce yourself? And if you'll stand, please.
All right, I'm Jarrett Randall, live in Tillowberry.
I'm sorry, let me preface with the questions that we answered. So each group was asked to answer 3 questions. 1, surrounding the challenges of being in a relationship and working with government. 2, what are some innovative ideas or strategies that the government should adopt or fund? And then 3, how can community better hold government accountable and monitor our violence prevention strategies?
All right, the first one we discussed is the pawn shops are not regulated, assuming they're talking about guns and other items. Build positive relationships with the community. Remove public servants not engaging. Alternatives to traditional government. Citizen Review Board. Redistribution of funds. Community involvement. Budgeting. Accountability for funded officers, trust, participation, doesn't make afraid to speak out, reflections, this is the challenges. Voice is not always heard, acting on feedback.
We talked a little bit about systemic racism. We talked a little bit about genuine police reform. We talked a little bit about some issues on voices not being heard, connecting to neighborhood groups. We also, and then we got into some solutions down here. We talked about some community engagements, violence prevention workshops, positive yard signs, youth involvement, and grassroots involvement. And that's kind of the line that we went down.
Thank you. Good job, y'all.
I did have to say one other thing to say. One of the things we suggested was park rangers and park police. There's kind of help keep the community parks safe for the kids playing sports. And somebody else suggested in our group youth. Like we have neighborhood associations, maybe have a youth associations, like the neighborhood associations, so you can connect with the youth in the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if you're not able to get to all of your group's answers, that's okay. Like we said, we're working on limited time, so if you're able to summarize the answers to the 3 questions.
How y'all doing? My name is Michael Ballard. Sometime listening to me could be good, sometime it could be bad, depending on who you are. And since I ain't in nobody's pocket, I can speak free and I can tell the truth exactly how I see it. Now, we discussed it from the standpoint of trust and connection to Metro government. I didn't hear nobody in the room where I was at speak in favor of Metro government, not one person. And I'm a drive, I want to make a point. Mayor Greenberg, I patiently waited for you to finish your conversation. And when you was done, I attempted to speak to you, and you cut it off. That ain't connection. That's exactly what we're talking about. We're not treated like people. We're not treated like people. To government, the only thing that matters is big business. But big business don't vote. Big business do not vote. People do. I've been doing, I'm from the Victory Park neighborhood. Used to be one of the violentest neighborhoods in this city. It's not that way no more. And it's not that way no more because of me and people like me realized this is not our neighborhood. And we was right because everybody came out. Once somebody starts showing that leadership, I don't care what neighborhood you live in. Y'all are gonna get together and you're gonna come out and you're gonna do what need to be done. We realize every time kids in our neighborhood leave the neighborhood, they get into a fight with other kids in other neighborhoods. So we started coming up with programs and things to do in our neighborhood so that they won't go. And it just so happened that these programs that we was doing was allowing them to go back to school and tell good stories, not just somebody got shot. And the other one that we talked about was the violence. These kids are mad. They're very, very, very mad. See, when a husband and a wife get a divorce, whichever one leaves the house, the kids feel abandoned by that other one. If a man loses his life, the kid feels abandoned. So anytime those two parents separate in any shape, form, or fashion, the kid feels abandoned. They feel abandoned by family, they feel abandoned by community, they feel abandoned by government, they feel abandoned by business. And you wonder why they won't listen to you. And the cycle that they are caught up in right now has impacted all of us that went to funerals, cried. You know, we don't know, but it's impacting every last one of us. They need our help, okay? They need our help, and it's our responsibility. And it's a difficult job. It's a challenging job. You can get wore out. I've seen single mothers get wore out because of having to deal with different problems, you know. Eventually, you're going to get tired. But I am going to be clear about one thing. I expect our leadership to show leadership and exercise leadership and not just talk it. Because I'm not going to cut you no slack and not call you out. Because like I said, I'm not in nobody's pocket. Nobody's. I'm beholden to nobody for nothing. And if it's anybody here know me, knows I've been slaving in my community for 30 years or better. I'm the person that'll knock on the doors and say, I'm in the parks and the kids. And they know that I'm not gonna leave them kids alone, and I'm gonna feed them. And I'm gonna get into organized activities with them. It don't take money. It only takes people that really want to do it. Money, a lot of times, will stop it from getting done. That's why I hate meeting in groups. Nothing never get done. I just strike out, start doing it. If you watching, you seeing it, you want to help, cool. There's a lot of people that believe in it enough where, oh, okay. Okay. Time's up. I should have been talking about money. If I was talking about money, I'd still be able to talk. But thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your input. But we do want to make sure that all voices right in the front of the room get to be heard.
I am Grandmaster Khalid Rahim, founder director of the Arabian Federation Martial Arts Academy, the Arabian Nights World Karate Team. Just to talk a little bit about what we discussed today. 1,440 minutes in a day, everybody. Thanks for taking some of your time out to let's get together and unify and try and do something right. I don't have my glasses. I'm getting old. We talked about and discussed putting together Metro Park centers, bringing things back for the kids to identify with. We talked about programs involving the Creator, God, the Creator, and getting the kids identified more with the Creator's laws and demands laws, moral laws. We also talked about interpersonal communication, programs with problem-solving skills, conflict resolution. These are the things that our kids are needing. Just like there's parenting programs, we need to put together some children programs so that they can identify with their job description as a child. Our children are trying to live adult lives as kids. It is so rough on us as adults to do that, but if we don't identify with something, we'll be out there doing anything. We talked about accountability, and I'm summarizing everything, okay? Accountability from the government to provide the programs and the resources to help our children survive, to help these parents. Everybody, listen. Everybody is grieving. Everybody is mourning something or somebody, even if it's just a lifestyle. There's no grief counselors that come out to our communities. There's no grief counselors to catch them in school. 24 hours in a day, they say sleep 8, work 8. What does that leave for you, for your children, for your families? Listen, y'all, our kids have forgotten what they go to school for, and we have forgotten what we send them for. The pandemic has come around, I think, from the Creator to get us all to unite and fight against one common cause, one common enemy. We're still fighting each other, and we're losing our kids, we're losing our families, and the family structure has been compromised. These are some of the problems. Lack of engagement. No inspiration from the government. Lack of effective coalition and an outlet. There's no problems. There are no problems and solutions for those problems that create a solution as far as the government is concerned with the problems. Yeah, you right, baby. That's right. Listen, when there's no accountability, people are going to do everything. They're going to do anything, and they're going to do whatever they want to do. They say it starts at home, but you can't teach what you don't know. They say it starts at home. I don't agree with that. It stopped at home, because when you stopped us from disciplining our children, then there's no accountability. And just real quick, and I'm out. Just last week, one of my parents called. I go over to the house, and her son was caught smoking weed. So she's trying to explain to him, look, you can't do that in my house. And he blew smoke in her face. She smacked him. He called the police. They told her, look, we're not going to lock you up for smacking him, but you can't abandon him. She said, he's getting out of here. Take him with you. They said, you're abandoning the child. They put cuffs on this woman and left. The child in the house while she went to jail. There was a party. 2 people got shot that night. You complain about our kids, but then when we tell you what we need to do to get them prepared to come out to your community, you got a problem with it. Yeah. Government need to stand up and help us, work with us. Parenting programs. My granny, my mother, my auntie, my great-granny, my uncle, my father's father, nobody's ever had a parenting class, but they worked on it and made it up as they went along. Grandparents are so good at taking care of the kids now because they had at least a run with their children. But we tie their hands and then we complain. As government, there needs to be accountability on them for education, for them on continuing education. And I'm out. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
All right, in our final group.
All right, how's everybody doing? My name is Michael Springer. I am the program manager for Youth Build Louisville's Pivot to Peace program. I was in the green group. Yep, give it up for the green group. You can do that. You can do that. All right, very quickly, we will go through the challenges. Accountability to our councilmen and women, that was a challenge. Nobody is keeping a scoreboard. How do we know if you're doing what you said that you would do, right? What we put you in the positions for. So accountability. Accessibility was another big thing. We talked about in the group how people would call the councilman or councilwoman and wouldn't get a hold of them. They aren't accessible to hear the problems, to hear some of the solutions in the community. Also, the legislative process can be too slow at times, and also it can be too fast at times as well. Transparency was a big thing. What are you doing, right? We want to see what's going on with our government officials. Another thing was unfair rules and regulations. Unfair rules and regulations, these are different ordinances in communities that come up, whether it's potholes, grass too high, or things that residents have issues with. Difficulty reading local government. This one was just the big disconnect. The big disconnect from our government officials and the people that are serving in the community, and how we are speaking two different languages. We're speaking two different languages, and that has created a problem, and furthermore, that has created violence. That has created violence in our community. Equal access to being heard, and so those were our challenges. Some of the solutions that we have is follow through. Follow through with decision makers. Another big point that we had, we talked about the decision makers, our government officials, but we also talked about follow through with the residents of the community. It is your duty that if you address an issue or a problem, that you follow through, that you follow through, that you follow through. It is not the responsibility of somebody else to take care of your community. It is your responsibility to take care of your community. Y'all can give it up for that. Green group, yes, yes. And more active residents, more active parents, voters, coalitions in neighborhoods. Yeah, so these were some of our solutions. Another solution was mental health. Mental health programs, some education programs, come together more. That was a big thing. We had at least 9 to 10 different organizations that were in our group. And we talked about operating in silos, how this group is doing one thing, this group is doing another thing. A solution is to create more opportunities that these organizations can work together. They're not competing after funds, that is really about the people in the community. And another thing, another solution was less criminalization of young people. It is not just a young people problem. It is not just a young people problem. That was a big thing in our group because young people kept coming up. Young people kept coming up. We said that it's a mama problem, it's a daddy problem, it's an uncle problem, it's a big homie problem, it's a 13 to 17-year-old problem, it's an 18 to 24-year-old problem. It's a 25 to 35-year-old problem. It's a 36 to 45-year-old problem. It is a community problem, not just one demographic of the community. And if we criminalize our young people, then we are creating a generation that will not trust us, that will be used to being criminalized, and that is a problem, and that is violence. Last thing, and then I'm done. Last thing, and then I'm done. These are things that should be funded. Youth entrepreneurship, community learning circles in the community, more trade, more skilled trades, educational opportunities, post-secondary opportunities for young people, more more things for elder residents, and cycle breakers and therapy. Oh, say it again. Say it with your chest. Cycle Breakers Breaking Chains Incorporated. Did I say it right? Give it up for me. Give it up for me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. And more youth solutions, and I am done.
Thank you. All right, give it up to all the groups. Come on. We got to keep going. Okay, one last word. Quickly.
Sorry, just real quickly, I left off Major 1, public transportation. There was a TARC meeting today at the Metro Council about public transportation. It's a big issue. Just because there's opportunities in our community doesn't mean people can get to them. So, it takes, from my neighborhood, it takes 3 TARC buses to get to GE and all the major employers. I think you should have a bus that goes directly to each major employer from each poor neighborhood in Louisville. Also, I think you should have midnight basketball. It's a New York City idea. If you ever seen Earl Goat movie, it's the tutoring, midnight basketball. Our community centers close at 8 o'clock in Louisville, Kentucky. So we should keep them open later. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So we are going to take all of these beautiful solutions and challenges that has been documented on here and make sure that the mayor's office receives all of your input. Thank you all again for having your voices heard. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Greenberg.
Thank you so much, Amber. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Tonight was about listening and taking action, and listening even when it's about challenging, difficult issues. Sir, I apologize if I cut you off earlier as this was starting. I will come out and meet with you again at Victory Park and listen to you, your colleagues, and everyone, because that is very important. That's what tonight's about. And so I don't want to leave you with that pace, and I apologize for doing that. And we will continue the conversation at Victory Park, grilling some more burgers like we did over the summer last time. So thank you for pointing that out. And tonight is about taking action based on what we've heard. And so thank you all for coming. I want to thank State Representative Keturah Herron for coming and bringing these words back to the state. Thank you for your service. I want to thank Chief Jacqueline Gwynn Biller-Oel, Paul Humphrey, and others from LMPD who are here that also listened. We will only address these challenges and solve them working together at all levels of government, through all agencies of government, and working in partnership with community. So thank you all. And this is not the end. This is just the beginning. We're going to have more community action and violence prevention summits like this. We're going to take a lot of notes, and we're going to get to work working with you. Thank you all very much.
Okay, as the mayor said, this is the beginning of more conversation. We'll be having more information available to you to a larger convening that'll take place at the end of March. It will be here at the All These Center, so please monitor our Facebook and and the mayor's communications for further announcements regarding that convening. Thank you all. Good night.
Tonight is all about the chief, myself, other colleagues from LMPD, from our administration, is having conversation, listening to the people in the community who are concerned about the amount of violent crime, talking about ways we can work to reduce violent crime and improve public safety together, and getting to know one another. The more we interact, the more we get to know one another, the better we can work together and build that trust. I really was impacted by a lot of the comments about youth and some of the issues, the challenges. I've heard it, but hearing it again. And also the importance of parents, of adult figures in kids' lives, and what can we do to support others as well, so that every child in our community has adults who they can look up to, who mentor them, who help provide them with a path for hope and opportunity in their life.